Right, so we'll go through the chest rig real quick. I want to keep it simple, and this is based off of the way I kind of look at things. You might think it's strange, but I think it's practical. We're going to run on everything on the outside, and then we'll move on to the inside. So firstly, down the bottom that I can reach with both hands, a tourniquet and trauma shears. Moving up, I have a fielding knife held down by retention. To the right of that, on a carabiner, I have a knife sharpening block. To the right of that, pliers for hooks. And moving on to the left, a carabiner with my gloves through it. Also, fish grips down the side, and just a little pair of scissors. Inside, you're in the front pocket. The next pocket, 2 bandages, some makeshift handcuffs just in case, Swiss Army knife or a measuring, just anything really that I think I'd need on my person. As well as the fact that I have my wallet, smokes, whatever else I would need on my person, and everything else. That bag, everything else can be stolen, no dramas, but everything that I would need to get through is on my person, so that ain't coming off. So I'm kind of set. You're probably like, well, why do you have handcuffs? Why do you have a tourniquet? Why don't you have them? Like, why wouldn't you have a tourniquet? Like, what's the purpose? And what's the downside to having one? When you can explain a downside to owning and having a tourniquet on your person, let me know, because I can't find one. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I've only got one. But at the end of the day, I'm not really in a position where I'm going to need it, nor do I place myself in environments where I think I would. But the reality is, I have knives on me, I have rod holders that are kind of sharp and shit. Like, I have things that can impale me and actually do a lot of damage. So God forbid, I don't have any wood to knock on, but if I were to hurt myself in a certain way that would be arterial, I can stop that bleeding and then apply pressure with the tourniquet, bandages, all that kind of stuff. I actually have a medical bag in my main bag as well, down the bottom of that. So again, I don't see why you wouldn't have something like that. And it's not taking up much. It's literally attached to my bag, so I can't lose it. And all I need to get it off is to squeeze one little thing, and all of the retention comes loose. There's no reason you wouldn't have it. It's not in the way. I could forget about it, but when I know I need it and it's there, pull retention, grab it off, and you're set. You can apply it. And it's good actually knowing how to apply them too. So if you don't know, well, fucking YouTube it. I will give you an idea of who to YouTube. It's a bloke called Sean Ryan. He has a podcast called The Sean Ryan Show. And on that channel, there's a few tips and tricks on how to do certain things. But a bloke he done with David Rutford, I think it is. David Rutford was a SEAL. I believe he was contracting as well. But he was also medical, I think. And they actually go through how to apply tourniquets and where to apply them and how to do it single-handedly and shit like that. Just little shit that would help. So if you want to know that kind of stuff, if you're thinking about getting a tourniquet, go onto the Sean Ryan Show and search up how to apply a tourniquet, or just something along that line, or just tourniquet or TCCC, and you should come up with something. And it's quite simple, and I agree with it 100%. Just little shit like that, it's always good to know, because again, if the day comes and you're not prepared, how are you going to fucking save your life? How are you going to save see, because it can be applied to so many different scenarios as well. It's not just for yourself, even though having 2 would be good, but like a car accident or something, and someone's really badly fucking hurt and they're bleeding and they need to have some form of, blood stopping material. Well, a tourniquet's where it's at. That's literally the reason for it. As well as bandages, but you forget, like, bag straps, just shit, anything that is not going to tear when you pull retention on it, or put tension on it. It'd be good to stop blood flow and shit. Like, it's not just a tourniquet that can be used, like a fucking shirt or just anything. But it's always good to have something like that, because when you do need it and it's there, it's like, thank fuck. And it's the correct equipment for that job. I have other means of medical stuff as well, but main would be able to stop blood. Because I've heard stories and actually have very close relations with people having to stop a bleeding artery, like the direct one to your heart, and it's not fucking easy. Like, it's not easy, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So keeping that in mind, if you know what you're doing, you're just multiplying your chance of living or saving a life. So I can tell you what the problem is. Like, why not? It's not going to hurt. Take a medical class. TACMed Australia, I think it is. They're doing some pretty cool stuff. What else? Like, even learning how to do CPR. That makes life so much easier. Because, again, same thing. I have very close relations with someone who had actually had to apply CPR. And I'm quite proud of them, because they were only young at that time and they didn't know how to pinch a squirting artery. They didn't know how to apply CPR to someone. And all of this had happened in the same house on the same night in the same 5 minutes. Some person had hurt themselves very bad, and another person had overdosed on bath salts. In that 10 minutes, 2 people were dying, and one of 3 people had actually done some life-saving actions. And I'll be forever proud of that, because they didn't know what they were doing. Luckily, there was actually nurses living next door to this place at the time, and they were able to run this person through some basic how to do this, how to do that, and within the chaos, they were able to succeed. So I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, just shit like that, you never know. If you get like a bag strap like that or some shit, if you can cut that off, you can apply that as a tourniquet. There's so much you can do with so little, so keeping that in mind, get the medical training, and just have it there. A family member, a fucking cousin, a co-worker, a random person on the street. If you can save life, you're instantly keeping everyone safe. You know, it's hard to explain without sounding like a fucking weirdo to the normal civilian, but I am a civilian. I have no medical or military, law enforcement, no background like that, but having the knowledge I have and understanding how shit can go wrong so fucking quick, I'm all for having a tourniquet. I'm all for having some kind of medical go bag in your car, at your house, in your family's car, your brother's car, you know, just shit like that. Why wouldn't you have that? Like, there's no reason for it. And, like, you might have already been through a fucking scenario where you have had to apply certain medical treatment to someone, and you're just like, fuck, I wish I had this at that time. Well, get one. Don't waste your time wishing you had of at that moment. God forbid it happens again. You have something to combat that scenario. And again, that might be a simple tourniquet, or maybe some bandages, or I don't know, lessons in CPR, just anything you can do to have a leg up in a no shit medical situation. Why not? Why wouldn't you want that? There's no reason for it. Okay, back to fishing. I'm getting a fuck ton of bites, but nothing's taken it, so I'm going to pop back here.